Welcome, everyone, to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. Now, today, it is our first official podcast that's fully in 2025. We finished off 2024 in the last episode, so today we are rolling right into the brand new movies of January here. We are starting off with Wolfman from Blumhouse, and then we will be rolling into Better Man, the biopic about British pop star Robbie Williams. And then we'll be finishing off with Den of Thieves 2 Pantera, the sequel to Den of Thieves 1. No subtitle. Pretty interesting lineup here. I've actually seen a lot of talk and disagreement on all three of these movies over the weekend since we've seen this. As always, guys, be sure to subscribe because it really helps us out. We are really close to hitting 1,000 subscribers now. And as always, feel free to use the timestamps below and click around all throughout the video or skip ahead just to the rankings if that's all you care about. But without further ado, let us roll on into our very first movie of the podcast, Wolfman. Isaac, please take us away with the description, please.
Blake and his family are attacked by an unseen animal and, in a desperate escape, barricade themselves inside a farmhouse as the creature prowls the perimeter. As the night stretches on, however, Blake begins to behave strangely, transforming into something unrecognizable that soon jeopardizes his wife and daughter.
Nice. Now, first and foremost, I want to congratulate Blumhouse on finally making a good movie.
Yes, been a hot minute.
It might have something to do with Lee Wannell writing it and directing it, but
True, Lee Wannell. We're big fans of. Hold on, big fans of Lee Wannell in this house.
The Saw franchise, yeah. If those of you
absolutely.
not familiar with the behind the scenes names, he wrote. Did he help direct or did he just write?
He directed this movie. Are you talking?
I know Saw. Like the first three Saw movies, he was a writer on.
Please.
But you would recognize him as Adam from the first movie.
He just wrote. James Wan was the director.
James Wan, yes, and then he directed Aquaman, which is really weird to direct Saw and then direct Aquaman. But anyways,
another weird.
Oh, go on.
Another behind the scenes thing on this. Do you know who the main producers were on this movie?
Who?
Jason Blum, obviously, because it's Blumhouse. Ryan Gosling had a hand in this.
In Wolfman, Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, that's what Google is telling me. Let me look at IMDb real quick, just to double check.
Be a producer. Hey, to be a producer, do all you gotta do? Do you want to just do you just have to reach out and be like, hey, I saw the trailer. This looks really cool. Can I kick you a couple 100,000 just to make it a little better?
I don't know.
Is that all you have to do and get a producer credit?
I'm looking to see if Ryan Gosling actually is.
Because I feel like that's the type of shit Ryan Gosling would do, and that'd be the type of shit I would do. I'd be like, hey, James Gunn, I see what you're doing with Superman. Can I kick you a couple thousand?
No, this can't be real.
He's diving in.
Okay, take this with a grain of salt, because this is on Wikipedia. But, so apparently the film was announced in mid-2014 and was to be part of the Dark Universe, like a shared universe centered on the Universal monsters.
That's why
it started with
the Invisible Man, right?
No, they started with The Mummy. They started with Tom Cruise's The Mummy, which I still haven't watched. I've owned it for 4 years.
It's not great. It's not great.
Wannell also made The Invisible Man, which was the success that he did.
Yeah.
But it says here that they accepted a pitch by Ryan Gosling, who was also set to star for a new Wolfman film with Derek Kane France to direct. However, Kane France left the project in late 2023 and Gosling dropped out of the role, remaining as an executive producer while Wannell took over with it as director with a new cast. So Ryan Gosling pitched
Interesting.
this movie. He pitched this. What
That's
the fuck?
a very interesting idea there.
I actually kind of want to see what the vision would have been for that other one now. Like with
Yeah.
Ryan
No, so
Gosling as the lead, that would be interesting.
yeah, I've been aware of this dark universe that they're doing. Basically what they're attempting to form here is they're doing like a remake, a refresh of the Universal Dark Monsters one. You know, like the
Yeah.
like the OG Invisible Man,
Yeah,
OG
like the
Dracula
creature of the
Frankenstein.
like the creature from the Black Lagoon and all
Yes.
those guys. Yeah.
Yes, like
Which
the
I would be so
classic
here
movie
for.
monsters.
I
And
would
they're
so be here for it.
yeah, they're refreshing that into like a modern darker,
Yeah.
movie scene here. So I didn't know Wolfman was a part of that. That's very, very interesting. And I hope and I hope that this means we're getting a Dracula Frankenstein and Creature from the Black Lagoon movie on the horizon as well. Anyways, moving on to the movie itself. Again, I really gotta stress, Blumhouse has been dropping the ball on its movies a lot.
Oh,
A
a lot.
lot. A
They
lot.
just seem
And
to be flinging money every which way right now.
they're either laughably bad or so bad you can't even laugh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know what I mean because you were there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but Wolfman was decent. It was a serviceable film. I think the only thing I can say about it is that like it was a little bit lackluster. It was a little dragging out, a little dull, but like it's not bad by any means, and it's not like 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 it doesn't have any of the problems that like normal wheelhouse Blumhouse movies have, like Afraid. It's just
Yeah.
shit. It's just shit. There's a few jump scares, and then the plot is really bad, and it's not scary. That's a Blumhouse
Let's
movie.
let's put it this way. The last Blumhouse movie that we watched and actually enjoyed, and we can't even call it a real Blumhouse movie,
Oh, I
was
know what it
Five Nights
was.
at Freddy's.
Yeah. So basically, if Jason Blum just hands off to somebody competent, then then the movie's good.
And the next one before that was Black Phone. Oh, over a year before Five Nights at Freddy's came out. So like they've
Exactly.
been dropping the ball for almost 2 years. So it's not looking good. Like I'm hoping that they understand that if they bring in like good directors and stuff, like and people that actually can write competent things, I want to go back to the age where someone has an idea, they write and direct it again. Like it would be
Yeah.
so nice to have that again. Like cuz
Right.
those movies almost always turn out awesome.
They
Cuz
do.
at least
Um.
you get the
The
writer's vision.
yeah. Um. Speaking of vision,
Mm.
do you want to talk about your favorite aspect of this movie?
Yeah, so this movie has a lot of really cool aspects, most of which deal with uh him transforming into the Wolfman. Uh Because before we get into this, actually, just real quick, the movie is a little slow to start. Let's just start with that because we it takes a while to get going, and it's a little like kind of like it's a little meandering. I want to say a
Yeah.
little bit, but once we get to the point where like he gets infected and he starts changing and like the tension starts to build more in the movie, like it gets a lot better. And
It
one of my
does.
favorite aspects with when he transforming is we get these shots sometimes where the first time it happens we don't even realize it at first because he gets up and he's just walking through the house, and everything looks normal. And then the perspective shifts as he finds his wife in the basement, and the perspective shifts to where his wife is, and you realize the basement is pitch black. There's no
Hmm.
light in the basement at all, but he was looking like as if it was broad daylight. Like that is
Yeah.
so cool. And as the movie goes on, like it's really cool because from his perspective, his family are becoming the monsters almost. Like they start to, well, I don't want to say they're becoming the monsters, but like he starts to not be able to understand them. They can't understand him because he can't like speak
Yeah.
really coherently anymore. And like the last shot we get of them through his perspective, they look like ghouls almost. Like there's
Yeah.
like you see the lights, like you know how like if you shine your light into the forest at night and you can see like the
The
eyes
eye
of
shine.
animals. Yeah, the eye shine, like he that's enhanced, and like he can see the blood vessels on their
Yeah.
faces.
To me, it kind of struck as he was losing his humanity, as he was like slipping more into this monster, he was losing his ability to recognize them or to, see
That's
them as his family and more
yeah.
as something else.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, as like you slip into these werewolf visions, like everything changes and like the fluidity of the camera and like slipping
Uh,
right in and out of that is
One
very good.
The only other one that really got me besides the one I just mentioned was that last time we see from his perspective, because like
Yeah.
he comes into he like gets into the barn where they are, and like he can see them, and he's like a foot away from from them, and then it
Mhm.
switches to theirs, and you can't even see him. Like the only indication they
Yeah.
get that he's there is he growls, and that's it. Like that is so cool and actually really terrifying to actually think about.
Yeah. So I want to hype up my favorite part of the movie, and I honestly,
Mhm,
it's just the best scene, and it
mhm,
just blew my mind. So after he's infected, and he hasn't quite like turned yet, but he's like he's definitely feeling it.
mhm,
He's wandering through the house, and he hears like this bum 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 bum, like this pounding on like a
mhm.
door or a wall or something, and he follows it into the bedroom and he looks to the closet and he just hear this bum 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 bum, this pounding,
Mhm.
and like hesitantly and like expecting a jump scare or another werewolf to be in there or something, he throws open the door and there's nothing, but you still hear the bum 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 bum. You
Yeah.
still hear that pounding in there. So where is it? Is it in the floor or whatever? He leans into the closet and looks in deeper, and it's about hand sized. There's a fucking tarantula in there, like a big giant spider, on the wall, and it's climbing up the wall. Boom, 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 boom. Every step that the spider is taking on the wall is like a fucking pound against it.
Yeah.
And and it shows you his senses are just that heightened. He thought it was an intruder or something, but he was just hearing the fucking deafening
Yeah.
pounding of one spider's footsteps. A spider's footsteps.
Yeah. I really like that was really really cool. I like that this, like you said, they're taking the original monsters and kind of modernizing them a bit. I like that this wasn't that, because you said a word that doesn't really apply here in my opinion, and you said werewolf. and
Werewolf. Yeah.
that's and that he's not a werewolf, he's a wolf man, and like there is a difference between the two, not very much, but like I like that what they did with this wasn't that like, oh, it's just, it is kind of werewolf rules, but it's more like a disease, which
Well, yeah, they said that
I guess what that is what werewolves are. It's lycanthropy, but
it's a
like
curse.
Yeah, but like it's just
So
something that happens like it's just an illness that happens to do this to you.
they were quite unclear with that because at the beginning they had the text say like, "Oh, had the hills madness," but like the ancient Indians called it like the face of the wolf or something.
Yeah.
So that it was kind of unclear on whether it was just like a regular disease and the Native Americans called it a curse because they didn't know what it was, or if we called it a disease not knowing it was a curse.
Yeah, that's fair. But it is still it does still have that kind of air of like the the wolf man
Yeah, like
kind of
the
thing. Like
original Universal's
yeah.
Wolfman, where
Yeah.
he doesn't like go full like wolf or even like half
Yeah.
wolf like a
I mean, he still has
werewolf
a lot
does.
of like hair and stuff on his face, but like
He
he doesn't
still
like
keeps his
yeah.
face, like the nuzzle
Yeah.
doesn't come out. He doesn't have like real claws. He doesn't get complete fur or tail or ears or anything.
You
It
know,
just sprouts hair. Wolfmen tend to keep the face the
you
same.
know what I'm thinking of actually? It's a perfect middle ground between what people think of when they think werewolf and like
Yeah,
supernatural werewolves. Like the werewolves in the
yeah,
show Supernatural, because the werewolves in Supernatural they just get fangs and claws and their eyes like turn blue, and that's pretty much it. Like they're
yeah,
just humans with claws. But like this is like a good middle ground between turning fully into like an animal, like physically, because like it's not like like it is messing with his bones and stuff. Like his everything's rearranging inside this man. Like it's
yeah,
pretty cool. The other one I liked was when like uh he just kind of spits out a tooth.
yeah,
Like that
yeah.
was
That was crazy.
crazy. Actually, it's just like
Dude,
what
and
the fuck.
his fingernails just like dropping off of his hands.
Oh,
That was
I also
creepy.
liked that, like, because it scratched his arm, right? And then they wrapped it
Yeah,
all up, and they're like, why are you? And then they undo it, and it's just festering. Like there's boils, and it's spreading across his arm, and it's
yeah,
like, oh, it looked so good. So, now that we've kind of discussed like the effects and like that aspect
yeah,
of it. I want to talk more about like acting and plot wise and like the pacing of this movie cuz
yeah.
that's where it
That's
kind of falls apart.
that's where it falls apart. It is true. One
Like
one
the act
thing, but
Go ahead. Continue.
one thing before we move too far into it is that the differences in the actual movie from the trailer.
Oh, yes.
Because in the trailer there's a scene where the wife is trying to like reach out and talk
Mhm.
to her husband, and then he can't hear her because of the werewolf vision or whatever, and then it flips back and she's just standing there and saying she like, "You're scaring me," like in a
Yeah.
very like matter of fact, I'm trying to keep myself composed, you are scaring me.
Mhm.
And I thought that was a really good scene, and
Yeah.
that's just not in the movie at all. And then when he's lying on the bed, like sick, trying to rest, and he can't like communicate right, she has him write down what's happening to him. And
Mhm.
in the trailer, he writes "changing."
Yeah.
All like in it's the letters are real squiggly because he can't hold his pen straight. But in the movie, he just says "dying." And there's a
Yeah.
vast difference between those two things, because with just
Yeah.
dying, he wrote out dying, and the wife's immediate reaction is just like, "You're not dying. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be
Mhm.
okay. It's fine." So like that can be taken as like, oh, he's feels bad, he's sick, and he's overreacting, or he's worried he's going to die.
Yeah.
But writing out changing is completely esoteric because like, what
Yeah.
does that mean? Like I wouldn't know what to think if somebody wrote down that they were changing into
But yeah.
what and how and
So
why. I'm so
that
scared right
leads
now.
that leads to another problem this movie has is by
Yeah,
changing those two scenes. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it changes and it makes the certain scenes make more sense. It's
right.
because it kind of, once things start picking up and he really starts changing and everything, like, there are some scenes that just don't really track for me, especially being the final one. The final scene of the movie where like he's like kind of sitting there, they're in the blind mimicking the moment he had with his father when he was younger.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there and his daughter is saying he wants this to be over. He wants this to end. If he had written changing and she would have had that moment of she's scared and then had that, like they would have known he's turning into something. And it
Mhm.
is evident, obviously. Like they obviously know that
Yeah.
this is what's happening.
Clearly.
But like having that like spoken, it kind of makes the moment of understanding make more sense. If that makes
Yeah.
sense to me. Like it's just kind of
So yeah, I get what you mean. Like with the
yeah,
prefaces of like I'm losing myself, I'm becoming something not
yeah.
me, and I don't want to be it. When you get to that point where she's got him at gunpoint, and
Mhm.
the daughter can tell he doesn't want this to continue, he doesn't want to be this thing, it would
Yeah.
mirror that much more than just throwing that scene away and say dying.
Yeah, like it just it kind of lessens the impact that this movie could have had.
It does.
By the way, that doesn't make it a bad movie by any regards.
No,
It's just
no,
not as good
I
as it could
just
have been.
you lost a couple points there, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. Like, and speaking where they're gonna lose some more points, the acting in this movie wasn't great. Like from the
Yeah,
mainly from the wife and daughter. Like it feels dry, and if that was intentional, whatever. Like she's trying to stay composed or something for her daughter or whatever.
yeah,
Like, but even when we're introduced to them, by the way, these two do not have a good marriage. I mean, they do preface that and say they do not. Like, they do
right.
not seem like they belong with each other at all. Like, I was half
But
expecting
like,
a she's cheating on him reveal at some point in here.
yeah, like I
Like,
kind of got the feeling like I don't know how to describe, like, you know how in Y2K where it's like, yeah, these two are not dating. Like they
yeah,
don't like each other. Like I couldn't get,
I didn't get the chemistry between them.
yeah, yeah, the chemistry that it wasn't like really there. Like I kind of, if they didn't have a kid, I would not buy that they're supposed to be husband and wife.
Yeah, like that's the other thing is that he's better as a dad than as a husband, and I get that I think that's the dynamic they're
I
going for.
I mean, if we're talking about acting skills, he's better as a wolf man than he is a husband or dad.
True. If that is the
That
same
was
man,
that was
if that is the
probably,
same man, he's amazing.
yeah, he's much better at acting like the animalistic wolfman than he is acting as a human, and
Ooh.
that must be why he got the role.
Yeah, so see, here's the other thing is that I have to give this movie huge props, and we both know we have to
Oh
give this
yeah,
movie huge props. They could have CGI'd the fuck out of these Wolfman faces. They did
yeah,
not at all. Everything was practically done. Like it was so well done. Like even the part like one of the crazy parts, I mean it's mostly in the dark.
yeah.
Like where he chews off his own leg to get out of the bear trap,
Oh yeah.
like, running through the woods. Like
Saw
I loved that scene actually a
Saw
lot.
reference.
Yeah, true, like fair.
Saw reference.
But I love the fact that like it's the little things in his performance. One of them being when he chews his leg off and he's crawling
Hmm.
out of the barn. He goes from crawling to kind of like picking up speed to full blown like he
Sprinting
learns he
like like
learns
wolf
yeah.
running.
But what I'm saying is you can see the
Yeah,
intelligence that he still has
yeah,
as
the
a wolfman
process of going through
because you can
that.
see him like figure out how to move and he just works it out by
Yeah, like, oh,
instinct.
ow, okay, that doesn't work.
Yeah, like
Let
you
me
can see
try
him kind
this.
of work through it and it's so well done. Like I
Yeah.
loved all of the wolfman acting in this movie. Uh But I did
But
also say
it's
another word that this movie has an issue with, and that was dark. And
oh yeah,
not dark in the gory gross. No, it's dark physically. Like it's
like
really hard to see a lot of things in this movie. And I
yeah.
get that that is mostly intentional probably.
I thought for a while maybe it was just the theater we were in, but like
Mhm.
then it would do like broad daylight scenes and they were perfectly fine, and then it would switch over to the wolf vision and then you can see perfectly fine. I don't know if they made it really dark on purpose to like accent the wolf vision and
Yeah.
like show you that comparison or not, but like half the scenes like it's just pitch black and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
But I
Uh
get it.
yeah.
It's
But I mean, it's not a huge thing. Like, it's just there are some scenes where it's like there are some scenes where it is definitely intentional that it is dark as fuck,
yeah.
but some of them just didn't feel like it needed it. Uh,
Yeah, it was like I kind of needed to see that
the movie was
cuz
also very predictable.
yeah, I would
Like,
say so.
it was extremely like there were a lot of beats that were very like the twist about
Oh yeah.
his dad and everything like that. I saw that coming a mile away. Like I called it from the beginning of the movie. I did like I said, the callback, like the mirror moment between when he was a kid and when his
Yeah,
wife
that was
and daughter. That was
both of those were
really
good
cool.
scenes. Oh my
They were
god.
great
The
scenes.
the first scene where he was a kid with his dad
Oh yes.
and the Wolfman thing, it's off screen obviously, but it
Yeah.
chases them up into the deer blind
Yeah.
and you don't see it, but you do see like a puff of like cold
Yeah.
breath,
Like
the
it's
hot
so
breath
good.
hitting the cold air, like that smoke that comes out of your mouth in the winter. You see
Yeah.
that just like puff up over the
Yeah.
wood, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah. So
that's
good.
terrifying. But like,
Like there were a lot of good visual effects that this movie had.
yes,
But a
yes,
but a cohesive plot and stuff, like it kind of ran away at sometimes. It just kind of felt like, oh shit, we're doing this now. Like
yeah.
it kind once it picked up speed, it almost snowballed a little too quick.
Yeah, like
In
if
some
I
time.
had like with most movies, like take Slingshot for example. If I had to
Yeah.
like summarize Slingshot, I could give you like 10 steps, 12 of like all the important bits that happen.
Yeah.
With Wolfman, I can give you everything that happens in the movie in like 5 bullet points.
Yeah. It's kind of like yeah, it's too quick for its own good at some points, but it also feels like
It's
it needed to breathe a little bit. Like if I would have
there's not enough happening.
yeah.
The plot is too light, and like it's literally guy and family moves back into his dead dad's house. Guy gets infected on the way there.
Mhm.
Guy starts turning into werewolf. Guy kills his werewolf dad. Guy gets killed by wife.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much everything. And then you just take those bullet points and then just like stretch them out with like a lot of just wandering around the house,
Mhm.
showing him being more wolf like. And it's just a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then running around, and then running around, and then running around and hiding.
She stabs that dude. This dude gets hurt. Like it's just a bunch of that stuff.
But like,
And like
it's.
don't get me wrong, again, it was an entertaining movie. Like it
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
it wasn't
it
what
was
we
just
it
missing
wasn't
a
what we were
lot.
yeah, it was missing a lot of substance. I don't
If this movie was a food, it would be a side dish. Like there's not enough to
that's
make it
good.
like a main course, an entree here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair. Uh I don't really have much else to say about this.
Mm,
Uh
me neither. I think we're good to move on into the rankings then.
Yeah. Me, I think I'm gonna give this movie like a low 7. It's not very high on my sevens, but it's like a low 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
I gotta applaud it for being one of the better Blumhouse movies to come out in a
Yeah.
while. Um, again, like I think that spider scene, all the werewolf vision scenes, a lot of the effects were done really, really well.
Mhm.
But like again, there's just not enough happening in the plot and on screen, and it drags out in a lot of places where it just feels like you've walk out of the theater feeling that more should have happened in that movie, and you're
Mhm.
kind of underwhelmed by the end.
Yeah, that's a good like conclusion, like summary of what this felt like leaving.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to our next movie that ends in man, we have Better Man.
Hmm?
Isaac, take us away.
The true story of the meteor of the sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Let me take that again.
Yep.
The true story of the meteoric rise, dramatic fall, and remarkable resurgence of British pop superstar Robbie Williams. So, Robbie Williams is someone that I've been aware of for a while. I
I want to
never
pause
was.
you right there. There's
eh,
something missing from that description.
What do you mean?
He monkey.
Oh yeah. So that's the other thing. So I was gonna get to that real after. I don't trust me. I was
Yeah.
getting there from
No,
where I
go
was
ahead.
going.
I'm
So
just
I
surprised that they left that out of the description.
well, it's in all the promotional shit. Like it's
And
literally
he
you look at this.
monkey.
You look at this. The first picture you get is a monkey in shades. So which does
That's
go crazy actually.
irrelevant. The
But
summary of the
anyway,
movie should not require a
so
picture.
I've been aware of Robbie Williams for a while. The only thing that I was able to equate Robbie Williams to with you is that there was a guy who made a parody of one of Robbie Williams' songs for his SCP based animation like series that he was doing. He
Yeah.
did a parody of his song Candy. Now, that Fine and Dandy, which is the parody song, was my introduction to Candy, and I really liked Candy. And I had listened to a couple of other Robbie Williams songs, but that's the main one I listened to because I like the song. It's very catchy, very upbeat. It's fine.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing leading into this: it is a biopic about a musician, which is like
Already an
five,
L.
which well with five years ago would have been a fresh thing. In the past 5 years, we have had so many movies about so many music. Like we've had
Dime a
Rocket Man,
dozen.
Bohemian Rhapsody. We just had a Complete Unknown come out about Bob Dylan. Like there
We
are
had
so many
Elvis.
that come out.
We
Yeah, they had
had
Elvis.
Unsung Hero, but I did enjoy that
Yeah,
one.
I did enjoy Unsung Hero, but that's more because it was less about like the
Yeah, the
family's whole
biopic of the
thing.
star. It's more
Yeah,
just like the family and moving
yeah,
to
the family
the
aspect
country.
of
But
it. Yeah,
whatever.
but anyway, so they knew that that's not a fresh thing, and Robbie Williams is relatively unknown. By the way, Robbie Williams in the
A
UK.
complete unknown, if you will.
Well, no. So here's the thing: is in Europe, Robbie Williams was fucking huge, like actually insanely huge. Like he
Yeah.
was like just it's hard to find someone to equate it to in American culture because there's just so many people. But he was just big. Like everyone in Europe knows who Robbie Williams is. So
Yeah.
this they know, but they know it's not fresh. So they put a spin on it and they made him a monkey. They portrayed him like a monkey, like how
Okay.
they did the Kingdom of the Planet, the new Planet of the Apes movies. Like they kind of just did that just on a dude, which I do have to say, kind of genius in a small way because they don't have to have worry about casting a physical person to like a bunch of different people to play him through his life.
Right.
They just need body models, and also it saves on Robbie Williams because like it said, it's talking about his resurgence as well. Dude is
Mhm.
busy. He's actively touring and stuff like that still. So it cuts down on the amount of time he even needs to be there at all. Literally, as far as I know, most of what he did for this movie was he re-recorded a couple of his songs, and I think he did lend his voice for a few scenes. But for
Was he
the
not the narrator?
I think he was the narrator. It was maybe. I don't know for
Yeah.
certain about that one. But uh but so they made him a monkey to kind of freshen the story up. And I'm going to be honest, if it wasn't for the fact of them doing that, we probably wouldn't have gone and seen this.
Yeah, cuz like if you would have told me that like oh, it's the guy from Candy, I would have been like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Like like that's literally all I know him for. But like, it's literally the aspect of like, oh, he's depicting himself as a monkey, and then you look at the trailer and you're like, oh, some of the stuff they're doing, this could be, kind of interesting.
Yeah. Um why don't you go ahead and tell your side of this first, because I have
Okay,
my own thing.
yeah, my side of this, I'm already not a big biopic guy. I think
Mhm.
aside from like okay, so like true story stuff is something completely different, but biopic focusing on like one person is really not my jam most of the time. I think the only one that I really liked was Iron Claw, and that's just because
Oppenheimer
of
you liked.
huh? You cut
Oppenheimer
out.
is technically a Oppenheimer's
Oh yeah,
technically a
I guess,
biopic.
but like that's more also covering the event, like the historical
Yeah.
event of that as well. But also really don't like look, I don't like biopics, I don't like musicals, and this is a biopic musical about a pop artist that I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
So it was really hinging on the storytelling, the character development, and the monkey for me.
And monkey.
And the story and character development hand in hand were pretty much just like, hey, I was an asshole my entire life, and then my grandma died, and then I fixed myself in the last 10 minutes of the movie. And I was like, okay, great for you, glad to hear it. That's not really a compelling story though. I mean, songs well written, okay? Out of all the musicals you've dragged me to over the years of us doing this,
Yeah.
the songs in this one was probably actually one of the better ones.
Okay.
But for me, I mean, I think just a lot of the movie was just showcasing how much of a asshole he is, like his entire life, and like, I don't find that very compelling story. I mean, yeah, like again, a lot of it was done very well. It's
Hmm.
just like personally, I'm not drawn into the movie. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
They didn't establish enough for me to invest myself in it or to do a lot. I think it's a very good film. I think
Mhm.
I think if I either A was a big Robbie fan or B was British and like knew about his existence my entire life and not
Mhm.
just found out who he was a month before the movie came out, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more because it would be just like, oh, so that's what he was like as a kid. Oh, so that's what his song about
Yeah.
his whoever it was. That's who that song was about. I'm like, oh, I remember when he was dating her, or oh, I remember
Yeah.
this concert. It was all over the news. Or my parents had like. There's just a lot where it's really hard for American audiences to connect to it, which is a
Yeah.
complaint I've seen a lot. And it's true, I can't really fault it on that, but it's just
Yeah.
hard to connect to it because he's not part of this culture, so you're not gonna have that like cultural
Hmm.
background to it as well. Um,
Yeah.
and the monkey thing backfired because I
Mhm.
brought this up when you and I watched Spiral from the
Yeah.
Book of Saw. Is you forget that that's Chris Rock really fast. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it's Chris Rock. If you turned to me and asked who that was, I would say it's Chris Rock. But
Hmm.
you stop going ha ha ha, it's Marty, and you start
Yeah.
just like accepting that that's the character. And it's the same thing
Yeah.
here. Like within like the first half hour you stop going haha monkey, and you just kind of accept that like that's what Robbie Williams looks like, and like that's the character, and
Yeah.
you become numb to it and just accept that as part of the story.
Yeah.
So the gimmick that it had, it lost it.
Yeah.
It
So
lost the
like
gimmick effectively.
when we were talking about this in the car afterwards, like I brought up a point about when you anthropomorphize things, like when you do
Yes,
like
this is a
in
good point.
Cars, when they made Cars
Or
or
here
they made other things.
the example I gave to you is it's the difference between the world of Zootopia and the world of BoJack Horseman.
Yes, so if you anthropomorphize something, and if you were to take them and make them humans and nothing changes, you have failed as a narrative. Like that's
Yeah.
what it is. Like so, like you said, like, that is a good point because in Zootopia, it's important they're animals because they have natural predators and
Yeah,
prey
and
and
it's
things like
important
that.
what animal they are, and that affects their
Yeah,
personality. Like the sloth is slow, the fox is sneaky.
yeah,
But in BoJack Horseman, they all just act like people, and there's no difference in between them.
yeah,
So the thing here is that the entirety of him being a monkey is just a metaphor,
yes,
and you understand the metaphor because you saw the trailer. And even if you
yeah,
didn't, oh my god, if you didn't see the trailer, it's just like, why is he a monkey?
yeah,
Because
exactly.
he doesn't say I always see myself as less evolved
There's no
than
point
other
in this
people.
movie you actually see him look like him.
Yeah, right. When he says I've always seen myself as less evolved as other people, he says that at the end of the movie. So if you didn't see the trailer and you just walked into this, you would just be like, why the fuck is he a monkey? And you wouldn't understand it to the last scene of the movie. So either it's
Yeah.
just like confusing and you don't get it until the last scene, or you saw the trailer and you got it right
No, he
away.
said that at the beginning of the movie. Like he said the
He
same
didn't
speech
say,
twice in the movie.
did he?
Yeah, he said it right at the beginning
Okay.
of the movie, and then he
All right.
said it
Well,
again at the end, and then made it longer. Like he added
all
stuff
right.
to it.
So in that case, my point still stands that like you get the metaphor. You understand the
Yeah,
metaphor. Yeah, he sees himself as less evolved, whatever that means.
yeah,
You get it. And then the joke is over. So now he's
yeah.
just a monkey for the whole film,
So
and you get it. So it rubs off really fast.
the problem that it comes in is that because they're doing it as
Oh,
he's a
that's a good
monkey.
analogy. That's a good
What?
analogy. The monkey is
What?
an excellent seasoning, but the seasoning
Yeah,
rubs off really fast. It's like when the
yeah.
skin falls off the chicken at KFC.
That's fair. It's because of the fact that no one in the movie is treating him like a monkey. They are just
Yeah.
treating him like another person. So you just see him as a person. Like
Yeah.
he
And he
that's just
doesn't
what he
act
is.
like a monkey. He acts like a
No.
human. I mean, he's
He
a
does
fucking
nothing.
asshole
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
rowdy and shit like that, but he doesn't go ooh ooh ah ah and
So
climb all over shit.
yeah. So do you have anything more you really want to talk about with the movie?
I
Because I kind of already
personally
said my
don't,
thing.
so
Okay.
it's all on you. I'll jump in if I
So
have anything, but
yeah. So the thing about the fact of him being an asshole is like I'll talk on this aspect and then I'll talk on the stuff that I really really like about this movie. So I had that same reaction too. I'm like, oh, he's kind of an asshole through the whole movie, whatever. And then I really thought about it, and it kind of stems from the fact that his dad just put a lot of pressure. Like when he was a
right.
child,
No,
it's
no, hang on.
unfair. It's uncertain what age he was. His dad looks him in the face and says, "You are either a star or you are nothing." And then
Yeah.
his dad leaves to be something else. Like he got a taste of that and then he just fucking left. So he in his head was like, if I become someone, my dad will accept me kind of thing. And
Right.
he starts
No,
to build a persona.
yeah, no, I understand that. Like, I understand why he's an asshole the whole time. I'm just saying, from a narrative perspective, if practically from the get go you introduce your character as an asshole, there's going to be that barrier between getting your audience to care for this character and, like,
Yeah.
connect to him emotionally. I'm like, he's an asshole, I don't like him. Or I'm not saying I didn't like him, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, it's going to be harder to feel for this character if he's mean and abrasive and
Yeah.
like that. So I'm just saying from the get go, like that hinders
Yeah.
the story
So
slightly.
so as uh so as the movie goes on, I did some more digging and I understand more of what the scenes were like when he's on stage and he sees a bunch of himself and
Yeah,
everything. Uh he struggles a lot with what is now known as imposter syndrome.
yeah.
Which is basically
Oh, I got that.
he's not who he is. Like, and they're like all that is just like when you have that and you have a lot of people like staring at you, like you're just constantly thinking they can see right through me. They're not buying it at all. Like that's his whole thing. The thing of them saying like he's gonna die went over my head a little bit. Like that, like it's weird. I think that was more of a representation of a panic attack. I'm thinking. I don't know exactly. There were some things that kind of went over my head with that. But although I do like the scene in the movie where like he finally like when he makes his huge resurgence and he has like his biggest show ever and like he's kind of trying to overcome those demons by
Mhm.
like those thoughts. And so they have a big monkey brawl, medieval style monkey brawl. There's fucking like medieval swords and shit. That was cool.
Yeah,
Like that was a cool scene. That was a cool use of the CGI. But like there were some beats in the story that made me really feel for him cuz like almost every time he tried to better himself in this movie, he just would get dealt another blow that would make him retreat back into his persona. Like he first he was trying to stay himself when he auditioned, realized he
yeah,
wasn't going to get it, so he immediately decided to turn on the persona, and that got him his job there. And then he had to fake it through all of that until like he hit rock bottom. They kicked him out of the band, and that's when he met his wife, who they're
hmm
getting together, and he seems to be doing better, and they're gonna start a family together. And then her producer makes her abort their child, so he
evil
slips
producer.
back. Yeah, so he slips back into drugs and alcohol and all this to cope. And
True.
and then he tries to after that he tries to go back on tour and stuff. Actually start. Like they're like you kind of need to like he's jamming with that one dude, and they're like you need something real. You need to do something. You need to feel the audience needs to feel you. So he starts to become more like open and stuff, and like oh cool, so he's starting to kind of get it again. And then once he starts getting famous again, his dad comes back and puts all that
Yep.
pressure on him, and that forces him to get even further, like fall even further into this. And it isn't until he gets to a point where he's basically to the point of suicide, and that's when like there's this moment where he just like realizes that life is worth living. Like I actually really like that moment where he's just standing out on the ice on his pond, and he's got like he's already slit one wrist open and he's about to
Yeah.
do his other one, and just he sees this like the sun comes up and like shines over him, and it's a really cool moment, and I really liked that actually. And it just forces, and then he finally gets some help, and he makes it back to the stage, and he makes amends with everyone,
Yeah, that was
and
nice.
it was nice. The only thing I didn't like was that he brought his dad on stage with him at the end of the movie, and they had this moment of like kind of like I guess you can see it as he's forgiving his dad for
Yeah.
putting that pressure on him or something. But like his dad did nothing to deserve that, like at all,
Well,
actually.
that's him being a much better man. Get it?
Fair.
Is forgiveness when one doesn't deserve it.
That's fair. So after all of that, like
Isaac,
again,
that's the cornerstone of our religion.
true. I love fair. I loved all of that. Like the story progression of this was like it had a lot of moments that were heartbreaking, that were kind of heartbreaking. I mean, again, didn't really connect a lot of the times, but like thinking back on it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was man. Like I've been really thinking about this movie a lot. Um, the thing I love about this movie, there are only two songs in the whole movie.
In the whole movie.
No, there are only two songs in the whole movie that are not a song originally released by Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
One is obviously My Way, and the other
Okay.
one is The Land of a Thousand Dances. You know, the na 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 na,
Yeah.
which so that's cool. Secondly, again, Robbie Williams has a very tight schedule. There are only 3 songs in the entire soundtrack Robbie Williams actually sings on.
Yeah. Bro don't have time for his own movie.
So that's the other thing is that they the big reason for that is they re-recorded every song in this. They do not use any of the original audio of the songs or any
Yeah,
of this.
good. Good. You
They
should.
re-release
That
they
should be
re
standard for
yeah.
most movies.
They re-recorded the songs to fit the energy of the movie better. And there are
Yeah.
some songs they did that phenomenally on. There are only 3 songs that they had Robbie Williams re-sing. One was Rock DJ, which is the one where like they're all dancing in the street. Loved that song actually. That song was
Mhm.
a was a
Yeah, that was a
bop.
pretty good one. That was a pretty good one.
The song he's not the song. What is that one called? I think something beautiful. No, I think something beautiful is the one he's singing when he's with that guy and he says like you can't
Yeah.
manufacture a miracle. I
Yeah, yeah.
think that's that one. He did that one and then he also sang the end credit song Forbidden Road. And
Nice.
but everything else that was sung as Robbie Williams was made by a guy called Adam Tucker. Apparently this man has been uh he's been confused for Robbie Williams. No, I shouldn't say he's been confused for Robbie Williams. He's been told he's a very good double for the man. So when they put out the call for this movie that they're looking for sound alikes, he put it out. He's on 90% of this soundtrack, and there are people that don't even know it. Like there are people that
Yeah.
have been applauding them, and he did a fantastic job because I've listened to all of the original songs now. Like, because I was really interested to see how different they are. And some of them drastically different, or at least they hit drastically different. One of them, especially, is the song "Come Undone." That's the one where he's driving away after getting kicked out of the band.
That's a good one too.
That was an amazing song, amazing sequence, and it's way more crescendous than the song originally is. The song is kind of like just one of those ones where it's like, you know, so supposed to feel very soulful and everything, and like it does in the movie, but it translates in the movie differently because it it feels
Because he's
more.
drunk driving at the moment.
Well, I guess yeah, like it's very interesting, and
Because you had to go from like slow, soulful song to from the
yeah,
beer to the keys to the car to the tree.
yeah, like I've actually had a portion of that song stuck in my head. And that's like the part where he's like, I've been dreaming, thinking about thinking. Like I've just had that stuck in my head on a loop for some reason. Because I just love that.
And
I
now
don't know
you're
why.
insane.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's the music in this movie is so beautiful and it is so cool to find out that all of them are just songs that he released prior to this movie coming out. Like they just took it's like how the movie Mamma Mia works, where like every single song
Weird.
in the Mamma Mia movie is like just an ABBA song.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, like that's my favorite thing about Mamma Mia is that it's all just a bunch of ABBA songs.
Isaac admitted to
And
watching Mamma Mia.
I love Mamma Mia. It's an amazing musical.
Isaac admitting to loving Mamma Mia.
You can shame me all you want. It doesn't change the fact that
I'm
it's a
not
fact.
shaming. I'm just declaring it to our viewers. This is the episode where
No.
Isaac admits on camera in front of a live studio audience that he loves Mamma Mia. I'm just letting you know that
Yeah.
that's on the internet permanently now.
What I'm saying
Just
is
so you
that
know.
They didn't write new songs for this
Yeah.
movie. They re-recorded. So they took songs that Robbie Williams himself has made over the years and used them and re-recorded them to fit the story, and that is
Yeah, I feel like that's
beautifully poetically done.
if it's not the norm for biopic movies, it should be. Like,
Yeah,
especially for like for
like
musician biopics, because like,
yeah,
because just like playing the song and just like acting like someone's singing, like, that's not gonna match up right. Like, you'd have to re-record it. Either hire someone to redo the song and then the actor lip syncs, or have an actor that can sing fairly like this guy
yeah,
who can sing along fairly similar to the thing. But like, you can't just reuse the song. I mean,
yeah.
sure, you could write new songs, but those songs don't exist, so why would that be in a biopic
Exactly.
about the
I don't
musician?
know. I don't know if other ones, because I never even thought about that.
Because we don't go see musician biopic movies, so
True.
so we don't know
I
what
don't.
the norm
I don't.
is.
I don't know if they do that. I've been meaning to watch Elvis for a while, and I didn't look too deeply into Bohemian Rhapsody. I liked Bohemian Rhapsody. I do know Rocket Man. Rocket Man, they did do that with. Because Taron Egerton did re sing a lot of the songs. And he did a phenomenal job with it, actually. It's weird. If I had a nickel for every time Taron Egerton made a version of I'm Still Standing, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice.
Okay.
Like, but it's
Ooh.
I'm hoping that it is, and like if it is, then I'm just being blown away by seeing it for the first time. But I find it really cool.
Yeah.
Like, not that like I usually when it happens, like I know in Bohemian Rhapsody, a lot of the times when the songs popped up, it was through the natural progression of them writing songs, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But this was they took the songs he wrote and used them to be the musical aspects of the movie. Like it
Yeah,
was
like it
really
wasn't
cool.
it wasn't like half some of them were like him in the booth writing the song, but some of them were just like him
There's one,
expressing.
well, two, I should say actually. There are two that happened in the moment they happened. One was Relight My Fire, which is another thing I wanted to bring up.
Boy.
That's the one where he's like stumbling around the stage and he's drunk on
Yeah.
stage.
Oh.
That's a
I
real concert.
yeah.
Not the him
Yeah,
stumbling
I didn't
around.
I figured it was.
No, like they matched the costumes that they had for that.
Yeah,
And
I
that's another thing.
figured they would.
The people they got to play the other members of the boy band, pretty similar actually. Like they looked pretty on or even keeled. The other one is Let Me Entertain You, which is the one that he's singing during the monkey fight. That is a song that he did sing on stage at Nebworth.
Yeah. There was a lot of songs like that actually, but we are running out of time, so I would like to move on to the rankings if you're good with
That's
that.
fair. That's fair,
Cool.
honestly.
I'm sure
I
I'm
I
sure
could
I'm
rant
sure
so
you
much
have
more about
plenty
this. I
you have
actually
plenty
have
to
been
say.
blown away by how well this is put together as a musical, actually.
All right. Well, with that being said, as we move on to the rankings, would you like to take the reins here and lead us off?
Yeah. I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10, actually. Uh Plot wise and everything, yeah, it does feel a little lackluster, but the fact that I haven't been able to stop thinking about this movie since we watched it, like I've been thinking about a lot, and this is the most research I've done on a movie ever on this podcast, honestly. Like I've listened to all the original songs. I've looked more into the actor, like how they did all this, and it was amazing. Like I this movie just kept going up in the rankings as I learned more about it. And because when we originally left the theater, I had this sitting at a 7, like a 6 or a 7. I think this movie is beautifully well done. It would be a 10 if I was a fan of Robbie Williams already. Like I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I think this movie is phenomenally well done, and I tip my hat to them for it.
Yeah. Uh, I am going to give this a 7 out of 10. Maybe it's because I didn't do all the research, but I feel like even if I did, it wouldn't go up for me. Simply
Mhm.
because I'm not a musical guy, I'm not a biopic guy, definitely not a musical biopic guy. I did enjoy The Monkey. I'll give him
Yeah,
that. Robbie Williams, pretty interesting character, I'll say the least. I found a lot of segments of his story to be, emotional, entertaining, interesting, this and that and the other thing.
funny.
But yeah, funny. He was a funny guy. But I didn't feel like any personal pull. Like it's just not for me, I feel.
That's fair.
So it's definitely a good movie, definitely very, competent in itself, but I think it's missing too much for it to be as successful as it would like to be.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Moving on then to our last movie, and probably the one that we have the least to say about, is Den of Thieves 2 Pantera.
Lawman Big Nick O'Brien gets embroiled in the treacherous and unpredictable world of diamond thieves as he pursues career criminal Donnie Wilson to Europe. So, let's preface this real quick. Sorry, what do you want to say?
Big Nick? They did not call him that at a single moment in the movie. They never called him Big Nick.
I don't know. I didn't catch it. I wasn't paying
They
that. I wasn't
called
paying that
him
close to what they were talking.
Nikolai. They called him
True.
Nikolai like twice, and that's two more times than they called him Big Nick. Because Big Nick,
True.
they called him
So,
0 times. They made that
so
up for the summary of this movie.
So we hadn't watched the original Den of Thieves movie before we saw this.
We did
It's very important you do. Well, no, let me rephrase that. We hadn't
before.
seen it before we heard about it.
Yes.
My bad. We went and we watched it maybe about like 3 days before we went and saw this movie. It is very important that you watch the first one before you watch this. Like
Yeah.
extremely important. You cannot
Heavily,
watch this one
heavily
and then the
important.
old one because honestly, if you watch the second one and then the first one, the movie sucks. The first movie sucks if you already know the twist at the end of the movie. Because that's
Yeah.
the thing. The movie is very, very, very slow. The first one I'm talking about here is a very slow movie. There's a lot of moving parts. The heist is kind of cool to know like the things about it, but it was still largely uneventful, honestly.
Yeah.
Uh
If it wasn't for the twist at the end, like we sat there, we were like bored out of our minds. Halfway through the movie, we took a break to watch an episode of Creature Commandos to kind of like refocus our attention.
yeah.
And then we came back, and then even then we were like, man, this is like a 4 out of 10 movie. And then you got the twist at the end, and I was like, okay, kind of interesting. That went up to 5, so it was just like
Yeah.
a
It
5 out of
evened out by
5,
the end of
10
it. This
natural
movie
movie. But
definitely way more action heavy,
yes,
which was very beneficial to it. I liked the fact that so the problem with the first one is that you have too many storylines to follow. Because you're following Nick, who's trying to track these guys down. You're following Donnie,
Big
who's
Nick.
caught between the two of them. Sorry, you're following these guys trying to plan a heist. You're following Donnie, who Nick knows about, and he's trying to he's like
He's a
battling
mole
back
for
and
the
forth.
cops.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, like a forced mole, by the way. But
Yeah,
and then you get the reveal at the end of the movie where Donnie has been the mastermind the whole time. Like he has been one step ahead of literally everyone involved in it. You weren't even considering him a major player in this. He was just a pawn, but he was the
yeah.
one masterminding everything. Which makes the second movie uh like you don't have to pull the wool over their eyes for the second one. So he's the mastermind from the jump, and that was really cool. Uh The fact of, Nick gets this whiff of like, oh, he's here. This is where he is. And he decides to kind of
Mhm.
go rogue and go after them kind of thing. And he joins them. He's like, I'm sick of being poor. I'm sick of not being able to see my kids. All this
Yeah.
shit. Like I want to be rich and all that. Like he kind of just joins up with them. And I do have to say, the heist in this movie way better than the one in the original one. Like the one in the
Yeah.
original one
If
is smart. I do have to say, like they're stealing money that they've already discarded. That's cool. I
yeah.
like the thought of that. This one so much more tense. Like I'm sitting there gripping my seat through that
Yeah.
whole
The
heist.
I brought this up is that like in this movie the heist uses excellent use of silence. So
Yes.
but when they're sneaking around and they have to literally be fucking ninjas and not make a single sound, it is dead quiet. Like like they make it super obvious that it's so pin drop quiet in the movie, and that
Yes.
just ratchets up all the suspense and tense. So even when you know that everything on the heist is going to go fucking perfectly according to plan, when
Yeah.
they get close to fucking up, you're a little tense. Like, oh, are they gonna make it? They're gonna be quick. Oh, they made it. And then even when the slightest tiny thing, goes a little bit awry, and and they're about to get caught, you get that same kind of
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah,
shit, the
it's like
plan's
you're
going
there
right.
with them. It's
They're
like
the
you're there
bad
with them.
guys. They're
Yeah,
the
they are.
bad guys, and you forget that immediately. Um,
That's the thing. That's
the
the point of a good heist movie. A
right
good heist
is
movie puts you on their side.
you forget that they're the bad guys, and you're rooting for them. That's again the same appeal with like Breaking Bad and stuff like that, where like
Hmm.
you want the bad guy to win for some
Yeah,
reason or the other because they make you care about them so much.
exactly.
You brought up this aspect that you really liked, that they had done the low tech beats high tech theme for
I
the heist.
love that so
And
much.
man, was that actually amazing though. My favorite bit is that they had um heat sensors by the vault to
Mhm.
detect if people were in there, and they just domed a fucking gelato dish, like an empty tray of for gelato, over the heat thing because it like locks in temperature to keep the gelato cold. They just
Yeah.
domed that right over the sensor and then didn't have to worry about it. I
They
thought that was
beat the
fucking
motion
brilliant.
sensor by just spraying something on it.
Yeah. Yeah, they just like
Like that's all they
sprayed some
did.
cooking oil.
Like it
A little
was it
spray.
was incredibly well done. What I love the most about this is that they were so deadly quiet and so purposeful getting to the vault. They get into the vault and they fucking
Yeah, they
trash
just
it. They
they just
just
tear it up. It's
fucking
like a
break
fucking tornado.
exactly. It's crazy. And so the action in this movie very good. I loved the growing relationship between Nick and Donnie through the whole movie. Like that kind of
Yeah,
buddy cop feel I got from them was amazing. It was so well done. I really liked the Irish mobsters. I thought they were like I love a mobster that has a code. Like that's why I
yeah,
like mafia. Those are the mafia I like. Like
yeah.
they
Like they only came after Donnie and them because they just like in the beginning the diamonds that they stole in order to put this thing in motion, like they stole one of their diamonds. It's like, hey, it wasn't anything personal. Needed to steal these diamonds as part of our plan, and we didn't know who they belonged to. It didn't matter to us. So and then they just gave it back, and they're like, okay, we're good.
yeah,
And I'm like,
exactly.
thank you for a reasonable mafia. You never
Yeah.
see those. You never see those.
Yeah, because you get into those moments, and then they're like, "All right, now give us the rest of your loot." Like, nah, they just want to back what was
And now
theirs.
we shoot you.
Exactly. Like
It's like,
it was
it wasn't
incredibly
the
well. It was
diamond you
incredibly well done.
stole. It was the insult that you gave to us. And it was like, and then they kill you. And it's just like they were just like, oh, thanks. Yeah, that's all we needed. Good. Hey, take our
So
car.
I know you're not a big fan of these movies. I got a real big like Fast and Furious vibe, and not like the
No.
original ones. Like My favorite Fast and Furious movie, like actually my favorite. It's one I might actually suggest you and I watch. Like I might no. Like I kind of want to get to a point. You've had me watch a lot of movies. There's one
Yeah,
of them
good movies.
Okay, there's one of them I kind of want you to watch cuz I
Ugh.
find it so entertaining. It's literally my favorite of all of them. Is Fast 5. The fifth movie, the fifth installment, literally the best of all of them. It's when they finally bring all the characters that they've been introducing for all the movies together. And there's kind of this moment.
So you want so the fifth one is like all is the crescendo of all the build up that they've been building up to and all these characters that they've been introducing, and you want me to throw me in there not knowing anybody?
Because honestly, you don't need it. You don't. They so
This
perfectly
guy.
establish. They so perfectly establish all their personalities, like in such a short time, that you don't even need the context of how they all know of how who knows who and how they know each other, because they just do a phenomenal job. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
But no, the reason I'm getting these kind of vibes is they're coming together. The whole point of that movie is they're about to rob the richest dude in the country that they're in, basically.
Yeah.
But there's this sense of like camaraderie between the thieves. Like they're like the scene in the car garage where they're all messing with their music and everything. I loved that scene. That scene was fucking
Yeah, that was
awesome.
nice.
I thought that was so much fun.
It was like
Like
some
it's just
kind of honor amongst thieves.
kind of thing. Oh, but no,
Yeah.
I like a group of thieves that act like a family, and that's cool. Like I really like.
Family.
Okay, shut up.
You're the one who brought up Fast and Furious, dog, not me.
Fair, but it was great, which also made the moment at the end of the movie so much better. The twist, if you will, of this movie is that Nick was never going
On
over to
board.
like he was never actually on board. He helped them commit this heist to be able to catch them.
Yeah.
And that was so good because it's like you could see the betrayal on their face and you could see the guilt he feels in
Yeah,
the
as soon
moment.
as
Like he
when they
almost didn't.
when they get to that like island or beach or whatever the fuck and they're counting up money and everyone's laughing and then Nick like he like kind of sighs and frowns and looks at everyone, I fucking knew. I was like, "Oh shit, he done it." And then right after that,
Yeah.
the fucking
Like
SWAT team
you
comes
were
in.
fully
Everybody hands
convinced.
up and I was like, "Oh,
Like,
Nick."
because that's the thing is like at the beginning of the movie, I'm like, oh shit, he's going undercover. And then as the movie goes on, I'm like, oh no, fuck, he's like really in on this. Like
Yeah.
that's
And
wild.
and you
And
feel
then
you
at the
get the
end,
I understand completely how Nick felt and how Donnie felt. Nick
yeah,
actually really did bond with them, and then you have that classic moment of like, oh, so that was all nothing. Like, you didn't
yeah,
actually care. You didn't actually like any of us. It was just for the thing. And he was just like, no, man, you're really cool. Like, you're a cool guy. I bonded with you. I did. I like you, but
yeah,
you robbed a bank
yeah.
and
And then
the
and
Diamond
then to
Reserve.
yeah, and then he feels bad about it. So he breaks it. He gets that cool mafia to break
Yeah.
him and all the other ones out of jail as well. We don't see the other ones, but he gets a text from Donnie that says all the cats out of the cage. They broke the other ones out too.
You say all the cats, or you say the cats out of the cage?
The
So
cats
I
or all
thought
the
I
cats
thought
that are
he was. I don't think it was all, but I could be wrong. You could be right.
yeah.
But I
Yeah, I don't
thought
know.
that was just like, hey, I'm out of prison now.
I thought it was that they went through that they then got the rest of them out because they're like because like Donnie's like I want you to
I
work for
feel
me,
like
like they talk to Donnie like I want you to work for me kind of thing, and he's
I
like
feel like they would
I and
have.
he needs to get his crew back kind of thing. Like that's what I thought it was. I may be reading into it a lot, and I think that would be kind of
Maybe.
cool. But I like that.
I see. I just feel like that they would have shown at least or like given any
Something
kind of
like that.
other
That's
hint that
fair.
the other one's done that. It
But
is
I like
possible.
the
Maybe it's a
moment where
later
he's at the
step.
end and he's like, and like, I like the joke. I can't even remember why he calls him Fraulein. I can't remember
I
because it
thought
was
that was his
established in the.
last name.
No, it's from the first movie. He calls him
Yeah,
Fraulein at
that would have
some
been his
point.
last name in the first movie as well.
No, because he was Donnie Williams.
Was he Donnie Williams? I don't know.
Yeah,
Fraulein
in the
is
first
like
one, I
German
believe.
for like ma'am or woman. He'd be calling him a woman the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had
Oh,
assumed I was not paying attention. I just assumed that was his last name, and I was like, "That's a weird last name."
no, no, no. He just calls him ma'am for some reason. I can't remember what it was because the first movie was so boring. I
Hey,
like that they did that,
misgendered,
but I like
cancel
the
him.
joke. I like the joke at the end of the like the thing at the end when he texts him. He's like, "See you later, Fraulein." Like I liked that. Like they're buddies kind of thing, but they're like it's like they're frenemies, and I love that trope.
There you go,
Like
frenemies.
their positions in life have them at odds with each other, but they're also
Yeah,
bonded. Like it's
yeah.
really good.
That's not a bad dynamic. It needs to be used a lot more.
Dude, the
Um,
first one, the most notable use of that Fox and the Hound, my guy.
it's true.
Like
It's true. Yeah.
it's
All right.
wild.
Again, not much to say about this one. It's a classic action flick. So
The
let's move
action was really
on.
cool.
Yeah,
That's all I
let's
can
move
really
on to the
say.
rankings here. I'm gonna give this a pretty low 7 out of 10. It was pretty good. It's your standard action flick with a little tiny bit of uniqueness that really sets it apart from a lot of the other stuff. But nothing super outlandish to write home about. But it was pretty good, solidly entertaining, and worth a watch.
Yeah. I'm also giving this a 7 out of 10. I haven't decided if I'm putting it above or below Wolfman because it was definitely like more entertaining wise than Wolfman. I think that I might have it higher than Wolfman on here.
Yeah,
Uh it's it was just a decently entertaining movie. I enjoyed it a lot. The action was great. The heist was so good. Like I love the reason why I loved it so much with the low tech versus high tech, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it, is that it's feasible.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. They
like
didn't
it's
like
that doesn't,
make shit up.
yeah. Like it's like, oh no, they used just what they had. Like it seemed like a real heist. And it
Yeah,
was very well done.
yeah. All right. That should wrap us up for our podcast here. Isaac, do you want to give us a look at what we could be taking a peek at next time?
Absolutely. So next time we should be seeing the next Angel Studios movie, I believe it is a Brave the Dark. That is an Angel Studios movie? Yes,
Yes,
okay, just
sir.
making sure. Brave the Dark. Steven Soderbergh's new horror movie, The Presence. Don't know a whole lot about it. Where it's been on our radar.
It's
Have we
a it's
even
a
we've
f-
seen
it's a
one
f-
trailer for it, right?
yeah, it's a first person ghost story.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. And then we will also be having why am I blanking on it? It should be
Flight
the
risk.
easiest one. Flight Risk, yeah. It's the easiest one because it's the one we've been hyped about for so long. It's like
Yeah.
it's crazy that it's already here. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg's movie Flight Risk, or should I say Mark Baldberg?
Mark Baldberg. He actually
Mark
shaved his head
Baldberg.
for this movie.
Yo, Topher Grace is in this as well, which is also crazy. Like we've been focusing on Mark Baldberg, but Topher Grace is in this. That's wild.
Yeah, you know why that's wild? I have no idea who that is.
He's Eric from that '70s show.
I did not watch that 70s show. That's how I didn't
That
know
is
that.
impossible. There's no way you haven't seen that '70s show.
I cannot name. I know there's a guy named Fez. That's it.
That's crazy to me that you did
No,
not grow up watching
wait,
that '70s show.
wait. Meg Griffin is in that show. I know that too.
Yes, she
I
is.
know that there's a character named Fez, and I know that one of the characters is Meg Griffin. That is my extension knowledge of that '70s show.
It's
That's all I
actually
know about it.
crazy. It's actually wild to me.
All right, that should do her then. Uh, Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe because it keeps us going back to the theaters and bringing these videos back to you. Be sure to check out our Letterboxd accounts on screen now. And until next time, guys, that's a wrap.
Roll credits.